What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HASAN broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and nebbies are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm coming to you back from the land of the free, the home of the brave, the United States of America, Los Angeles, California. It is very funny that like there is this assessment of like, how much everything I was wearing. It's like they don't realize that one, people send me fucking free shit all the time. Two, people gift me shit all the time as well, right? Like, not that it even matters. Even if I like go out and purchase it on my own, who gives a fuck what I'm wearing? You're an idiot. Like, what? You think the price of this button up shirt is the reason why the Cubans are fucking suffering? Like, what argument is this, right? You're an idiot for trying to justify it to them. I'm not trying to justify it. I didn't even bring that stuff up at all. But there is obviously like areas where there is a tremendous amount of misinformation, and you have to clarify it, right? Yep, like the Kneecap Concert causing the blackout. I saw this one a lot. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Part of what I wanted to explain to people is like the complex bureaucratic nature of these sanctions that America has placed upon Cuban society, like Cuban commerce, and how restrictive it is, right? And it's very interesting that like American restrictions that make it illegal for American citizens to do normal shit in Cuba, they sound so silly. They sound so insane. Like when you hear it at first, it's kind of like Israel in that regard, where you're like, that sounds ridiculous. There's no way that that's a real restriction. Shut up. The thing that people were complaining about, like the 5-star hotel shit, right? I found it really strange that they clipped me talking about it, and it's objectively the truth. I just said literally what the American government's restrictions are, and people were just like, sure, buddy, and they ran with it. The State Department and the Treasury Department specifically makes it illegal for American citizens to stay at whatever accommodations they want to stay in, with the exception of like 4 hotels. What a lot of people I think don't understand is that this Progressive International, Code Pink, like this entire flotilla convoy of aid was put together, obviously with allowances from the Cuban government and also with allowances from the American government, because you can't do a massive 600-person humanitarian aid mission without getting the go-ahead from the Cuban government and without getting the go-ahead from the American government. Like I have the paperwork right here. I have the OFAC restrictions paperwork that I had to sign right in my hands. Wait, the U.S. approved that aid mission? Yeah, of course. Of course the United States approved that aid mission. The United States Treasury Department has to approve anyone that's going to Cuba. A lot of people don't realize this, especially if you're doing any sort of aid, any sort of humanitarian aid. There are levels to the cruelty that America is willing to subject the Cubans to, but the reality is that the number one telltale sign for international human rights organizations is the restriction of humanitarian aid. So the American government, at least for now, has not restricted humanitarian aid, but humanitarian aid alone is not going to be able to make up for the lack of imports and lack of exports anyway, and we can't fucking send, barrels of oil regardless, so like we can't actually address the number one problem that Cubans are facing. Hey, by the way, Hassan just broke U.S. law. Oh, and he could face a $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison once he gets back to the States. Hey, FBI, get on it. 30,000 likes. The U.S. Department of State maintains a Cuba prohibited accommodations list, which bans American travelers from staying at or paying for over 400 government-owned hotels, guest houses, and resorts. I said, yeah, the U.S. law is fucking stupid. I didn't break it, but this post is the only one that ironically acknowledges the comical U.S. restrictions on what U.S. citizens are allowed to do in Cuba. The 5-star hotel is only one of the few hotels the U.S. government allows Americans to legally stay in. And it's crazy because, like, why the fuck should the American government regulate what American citizens want to do in another country? But that exists. Isn't that fucking nuts? That's insane. It's the truth. I was first going to suggest you stay at a Casa Particular, but if you are there with a group, it would only make sense. Yeah, there's 600 people. The island is experiencing a total blackout. It's virtually impossible for 600 people to be coordinated in 600 different houses, or like however many different houses. There's not that many Casa Particulars anyway. Casa Particular is basically like an Airbnb system for regular Cubans to be able to open up their homes to American citizens that are coming in. Some of them are allowed. It's in the It's in the list of housing that you can stay at, and it's awesome. It's dope. When I go back to Cuba, I will absolutely do that because I'm not going to be going with like a massive humanitarian aid mission. I didn't choose where we're staying. But if you're there with the whole group, it only makes sense. The hotel is the same place. I went through this whole thought process within seconds. It's weird that people wrote articles about it. Also, that hotel wasn't that fancy. I went there. Yeah, it's not a very fancy hotel, but it doesn't matter. It's fucking Cuba. It's a very poor country. It's been kept poor by the United States of America. And what's ironic about this restrictive process is that these are privately owned hotels. So when people are talking about like the electricity grid and what the hotels are doing, they have generators. Not only do they have generators, but they're literally taking up some of the fucking necessary resources through private commerce. And it's ironic that that unjust system is precisely what the Americans want to fucking bring about to the fucking island. So the people that are literally criticizing the claiming that the blockade doesn't exist don't know what the restrictions look like. Number one. Number two, they're literally fucking complaining that like these hotels they have their own generators and they are able to keep the lights on. Yeah, because they're fucking privately owned. That is the fucking problem. That's what America wants. America's literally saying they will only allow oil into the fucking island for companies like that, okay? For privately owned hotels like that. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. That's like what we're trying to fucking address. Beyond the hypocrisy of Piker's vacation, this just isn't true. As I know from personal experience, if you'd like help booking a Casa Particular next time he visits, you can do so through Airbnb. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I didn't fucking choose this. And yet they're literally just leaning into the lack of knowledge overall. And in the process, they're basically admitting that I'm right. HASAN, go to Gaza. HASAN, go to Cuba. Okay, HASAN, why did you actually go and show the truth? You need to be locked up. Also, here's a list of imperial rules designed to kill these people you're helping. Yeah, I know. It's very strange. They say I sit around and farm donations at home when I cover this stuff. And then when I go there, they say, how dare you go there? You're performative. It kind of feels like they just don't want me to go there or do anything. It just kind of feels like they just don't want me to say or do anything at all, right? Like it's more so the fact that I'm doing something that is very frustrating for them. Reports that you died in Cuba? Yeah, I'm dead. This is pre-recorded.
The second thing I saw was, all of these influencers spent all of this money when they just could have given it to the Cuban people. How? Do you know that because of the blockade and the sanctions, that United States citizens cannot send money?
Yes, it's crazy. People don't realize, like, all of that aid, we had to literally physically send it there, okay? Like, someone had to physically put that aid in the hands of Cubans. That's another crazy part of this, where people are like, oh, you don't understand. Like, why didn't they just send the aid? It's like, you're a fucking idiot. You think we didn't think about this? Not only was there like a cultural component to this humanitarian aid trip, because like there's so much orientalization that's going on here. Like you're treating the regular Cuban citizens like they're fucking animals. It's disgusting. Like the way you're talking about it, like you think they don't experience joy. You think they don't care about art. You think they don't care about being treated like fucking human beings. It's disgusting. There's so much like speaking over regular Cubans that are living in Cuba in this conversation that is mind-boggling. It's alarming. It's gross. And I cannot believe how much both liberals and fucking right-wingers have engaged in this. Like, it's crazy to me. One of the craziest pieces of misinformation was the Kneecap guys, like, sucked up all the energy and killed Cubans in a hospital. The reason why the Cuban hospital ran out of energy is not because the fucking electricity grid is falling apart. I mean, that's part of it, for sure, of course. But there's not enough gas on the island for their generators to work. That is our fault. America, we did that. Okay? What do you think is going to happen when we've starved this island of necessary resources by stopping other countries from being able to freely trade with Cuba? It's illegal for America to implement this blockade. Kneecap participated in one of the many daily festivals that happen during the day. That festival that they participated in had Cuban musicians that were also participating in it. It was free for all Cubans to attend, and it was overwhelmingly Cubans that were there. It blows my fucking mind that these people can be so cynical and so gross that they think that like regular everyday Cubans don't want to experience fucking joy. It blows my mind. You just don't even want to think. Like, you literally can see it. You can see it in real time. You can see Cubans dancing, singing, having a good time. And you're like, oh, they must be brainwashed. Someone was claiming that they were being bribed with treats. The audacity beyond your laptop tweeting from a five-star hotel powered by generators while the local hospital goes dark. You are truly, genuinely a psychopath. Wow. This guy is one of the biggest, most troubled, most schizophrenic, vulgar demons I have ever encountered in my fucking life. And he has the audacity to claim that he's a humanitarian and a liberal. Shame on this fucking piece of shit. Shame on you. Unfucking believable. I wasn't even in Cuba when I tweeted this, for the record. But it doesn't matter. It's all misinformation. God, it's fucking nasty. What a nasty piece of shit this guy is. Shame on you. If you have the capacity to feel shame, that is. You don't. The people died because you morons threw a giant party and sucked up all the electricity. These are fucking Cubans, man. These are everyday Cubans having a great time on a free concert that was thrown together. And it wasn't just Kneecap. It was like, Cuban artists that were also participating in it. I say you're a fucking insanely indecent person and you should really think hard about why you're repeating obvious moronic lies that MAGA is spamming on the timeline. Vicious scumbag. I cannot believe that the average person is this indecent. I think this is cynicism born out of just like being on this website. I cannot believe that people could be like this. Obviously, there's like think tank liberals like Jeremiah Johnson, who's a ginormous piece of shit. Cuba's dictatorial regime is far more responsible for the impoverishment of the Cuban people than America is. A lie, an abject lie. Of course, his job is to defend liberalism when liberalism is falling apart. So, of course, he's going to say this lie. Someone goes, yeah, but man, like the embargoing their oil and causing a power grid failure does seem kind of shitty and cruel. I don't know if it makes the situation better. Like, this guy's a fucking liberal as well. But even he's like, come on, it's really messed up. I don't think the U.S. should embargo their oil, but it's ridiculous for tankies like HASAN to go sing the praise of a violent totalitarian regime and act like they're just small beans who never hurt nobody. Cuba is poor because it's controlled by murderous communist thugs. When is the last time Cuba double-tapped a school full of children? Because America did that a few weeks ago, says Will Miniker. It's true. The Epstein pedophile-led administration is double-tapping schools, participating in the genocide in Gaza. And even on the domestic home front, we do worse shit than the Cuban government does on a daily fucking basis. 2 million people are in prison, incarcerated in the United States of America. 700,000 homeless people in the United States of America. 700,000 on top of all of our violent foreign policy. And it blows my fucking mind. This is the wealthiest nation on earth. And people still go, oh, but these other countries, they're so violent. We have no leg to stand on, man. We have no leg to stand on. If you're defending America, you are not defending Americans, okay? If you're defending the current American government, if you're defending the current system, you do not care about your fucking neighbors. I said our government is the principal party in Gaza's genocide, in Cuba's unjust blockade. We just killed 150 schoolgirls in Iran. In the wealthiest nation on earth, we have 700,000 homeless people, 2 million incarcerated, and you have the gall to say another one of our perceived enemies is violent. The reason why people say that is because they want to defend American foreign policy. They want to defend the American sanctions regime. They want to say, no, it's not. It's actually happening because, it's happening because the government is scary. It's communist. It's murderous, bloodthirsty. Another response I gave to liberal Jeremiah Johnson, whose operation, by the way, has said nothing about the humanitarian aid or the necessity for humanitarian aid or the conditions for everyday Cubans beyond demanding that the Trump administration bomb some of these fucking flotilla ships, by the way. That's the only output from this administration, this CN liberalism operation, new liberals. That's the only thing they've said about Cuba. Audacity to fucking come out and say the thing that defines us on Code Pink and most of the DSA Extended Universe convoy members is not complicated. It's America bad. Look, sometimes America's bad. That's quite literally the only lens they're capable of seeing the world through. It's why the DSA cozied up to Maduro. It's why HASAN thinks the Houthi terrorists are so cool and said America deserved 9/11. It's something is against America. It's good. End of story. They don't have an ideology beyond that. I said America can be good. Americans are good. You aren't one of them. You want to defend America's senseless bloodlust. We are death dealers around the world, and even Americans are waking up to the reality that our wars cause pain abroad and offer no benefit to ordinary Americans here. Parasite. Unfucking believable. Yeah, and he's also obviously a genocide defender anyway. He's a genocide denier. There are a lot of good things I could say here. I could say that a lot of this is factually wrong. Joe Biden does not have dementia. Palestinians are being killed, but it's not a genocide. Biden's administration is very much trying to rein in Israel, etc. Jeremiah is also a coward who now realizes that this was not a smart thing to put in writing, but rather than admit to being a ghoul, he has tried to quietly edit his blog, thanks to the Wayback Machine. Yeah. Sorry, but he has a point. I bet you tankies don't even know that Cuba has a prison camp full of prisoners of war that are kidnapped and tortured for years without charges. Look up Guantanamo Bay. What you will learn will shock you. Oh, shoot. Read a little further on the Wikipedia article. Turns out my government is a totalitarian regime keeping POWs in camp in Cuba and open, and the Cuban government has repeatedly told them to stop. Yeah.